Vine was waiting over the zebra crossing for the signal to turn green so she could cross the road. The weather was quite pleasant today, giving her motivation to go for work. Her eyes fell on a little kid who was holding a plush toy in one hand while taking one step at a time. It looks like she just learned walking by the way she was tumbling. Her hair were tied in ponies, one at each side, a cute bow in between them, a few random stickers attached to her little frock, and Vine could tell she was her daddy's little princess. But she wondered, where was that daddy of hers? She was alone, a pout on her lips as she talked to the plush toy in her hand, whatever she think was making sense. Vine gasped when the kid moved towards the road, which was still heavy with the cars speeding over it. The bag fell off her hand as she raced towards the kid. She was somehow far away, and the time it took Wyan to get to the kid reached towards the road already. Wyan was glad. A few more people noticed a little girl wandering towards the road and proceeded to help her. But they were slow. Wyan reached first, pulling her off the road when a car almost crushed the little soul underneath it. Wyan breathed heavily. It was nerve-wracking. She wouldn't be able to tolerate the sight if she was even a moment late. The thought terrified her. She hugged the little girl tightly, closing her eyes for a moment. Wyan, it's okay. You're fine, I got you. The child probably didn't understand what she said, but she was fine with it. She looked around to see if her parents were around, but it concerned her to see no one was interested in the girl enough to be considered a parent. Vine decided to go to the police station. She walked back to where she dropped the purse and saw it gone. She gasped and looked around, but it was already stolen. Vine, guess you're coming with me to home. I hope your parents find you soon. They must be worried. She smiled at the poor soul. She couldn't go to the police station, knowing they were probably going to ask for the ID card, which she lost. Once Vine reached home, she placed the little child down. Sally, I'm going to call you Sally till you are with me. She chuckled when Mary started to pat her cheeks, then her own teeny belly. Miri, belly woo. Vine laughed more at the cuteness. Vine, I think your parents are as cute as you. She placed Miri on the cushion on the floor so she won't fall and hurt herself while she prepared some food. She had to submit an application to office for a leave too. Jungkook was going berserk, having lost his only child at the hands of these careless guards, who were good for nothing. He had shot one of them, and his gun was pointed at the other one as his eyes dripped with rage. It was pointless, wasting more time on people who were not worth it. Jungkook had only one person in his entire life. That was his daughter, which he treated like a gem. His Miri. He must have belonged to a rundown world, but he made sure he kept her precious little soul away from all the cruelty until today, when he got a call from his home. He had appointed an elderly lady as a babysitter for Miri. She called in emergency telling him that she needed to go home. Jungkook allowed her and asked his guard to bring Miri to office. He was careless enough to hand his precious little daughter in the hands of them. It was a mistake to think these grown up men would be able to handle a 2-year-old. As long as she wouldn't get in hands of his rival, he would be able to easily find her. Wine was sitting on the bed as it was evening. She was playing with Miri, having lost her mobile phone and cards. She was pretty much empty right now. She laughed, feeding her a grape, and Miri chewed on it, sitting on top of Wine. At this point, Wine's hands and arms were filled with doodles and random lines Miri drew with a marker. The bell rang, and she wondered who it was at this hour. Putting Miri down, she went out to attend the door. As soon as the door flew open, her heartbeat dropped. Before she could process, there were men barging in her home, pushing her out of the way. She panicked and tried to run inside to save Miri, but her heart dropped when one of them already had her in his arms. Wyan, no, let her go. Who are you? The man stopped in the middle. Miri was snuggled up against him, finding her comfort in the man. But she was just a kid. She wouldn't know, but that's what Wyan thought so. Everything happened so quickly, she felt nothing but panic. The rest of the men stopped behind the one with Miri, and it seemed like he was their boss, or whatever was happening there, she couldn't understand. Wyan, look, let the child go. Whatever you want, you can take. But she's a kid. You can't hurt her. She daringly stepped forward, holding Miri's tiny arm in hers, protectively even when she knew she stood no chance before such force. Dada, Miri said, patting Jungkook's cheek. His eyes stopped, staring at mine as if she was an enemy to his daughter and to his heart, and shifted towards his daughter, turning much softer. Jungkook, yes, my princess. Miri giggled and started to play with his hair, with Jungkook without a problem allowed. Wine, you are her father? Jungkook, does that look anything else to you? Wine, why would I believe that? Do you have a proof? He frowned. Bold of you to assume I am here to satisfy your suspicion. In fact, if anything, I should be the one suspicious of you for bringing my child home without permission. Wine, excuse me? Do you know where I found your daughter? She almost stepped on the busy road. How can you be so careless? His insides twisted at the information, even when he had already seen the CCTV footage of the scene. It dreads him. His grip around Miri tightened a fraction, but no expression twisted on his face so far. Jungkook flicked his fingers towards his man, who stepped forward and gave Wine her purse, which she lost. Jungkook, a little present from me for the trouble. Wine gripped Jungkook's hand this time, not letting him pass through her. Wine, are you really her father? Her voice dripping in concern. He sighed, asking his men to wait outside. And Wine asked him to take a seat as he showed her their pictures together. Well, for a common lady like Wine, it was enough of a proof. But for a man like Jungkook, it was something too easy to be fabricated. Wine, I'm sorry for being rude earlier. I panicked, she said as she served him with some snacks and a coffee, taking a seat on the opposite couch. Jungkook's eyes fell on the faint marker marks on her arms and hands, and it was obvious she tried to wash them off. It was a relief. His daughter was in good hands. Wine. What is her name? Mirvi. Jungkook replied, picking up the cup. She noticed how he was barely making conversation, making her wonder if he ever even talks. But the way Miri had a whole packet of stickers and one by one she was sticking them on Jungkook's clothes, and the man never once complained. Whereas in Jungkook's head, all he wanted was to leave the place, all the while wanted to stay here forever. The first time he landed his eyes on Wine and how she protected Miri amidst such danger was when he saw his hurt even without him knowing. Was this only because she fought for his child or because he genuinely wanted her? Jungkook placed his card on the table and stood up. You can contact me if there's anything you need or was missing in your purse. My team will find it for you. Miri looked at Wine and extended her tiny grabby hands towards her while talking in her baby language. Wine didn't hesitate before rushing towards the child and took her from Jungkook's arms. It was a simple move, but the closeness between the two, the simple move of taking his child from his arms, it gave him such imaginations of a wife material. He groaned and looked away. Wine laughed when Miri stuck stickers on her face too. Wine, hey you impostor, who is going to clean them, huh? Huh? She tickled Miri, who laughed out loud, wiggling in her arms. Wine, can I meet her again? Oh, pinches. Cupping Maya's cheek, she blabbered in her baby language, and Jungkook couldn't help but say yes. Wine, says the princess herself. Kissing her cheeks, Wine handed the baby back to Jungkook. Jungkook, good night, Miss Wine. She nodded and he left with his child just like that. Wine picked up the card he left and read the name John's Enterprises. It was a VVIP card and it was obvious. Because of its rank, the number of it was Jungkook's personal one. Wine, wait. He is John Jungkook? To be continued.